What's it been like reconnecting with Jaden, and has he been, albeit in a short time, as vocal as advertised by his former Ole Miss teammates?
Yeah, it's been great. Jaden's obviously a young man I had a chance to work with and coach at Tulane in 21 and 22. Very cerebral, kid, high IQ, competitive, very tough. Understands the game inside and out. He's only been here for I guess half a week now, but so far he's looked fine. He's got obviously got to get in better shape. To practice how we've been practicing. Coach Love had our guys in tremendous shape, so he's got some things to work on as far as that, learning the scheme. But he's been good.
Yeah, you're on the right, Zach.
Tosh described this defense as lacking Oregon experience. It's especially true for the secondary. What does that kind of look like this spring so far, kind of as far as competition goes?
Yeah, I think the spring is about growth. That's the big thing. Like this is my favorite part of the year to coach. During the spring is all about personal growth. Each and every guy getting better. How can we get better as a unit? How can we get better individually, collectively, as a group? So yeah, we don't have a whole lot of experience, but we got a lot of talent. So it's my job as a coach. All of our job as coaches is to get them caught up and get them to play up to the Oregon standard. But I'm excited about them. We got a really good looking group. We've got a lot of work to do. We're not there yet by any means right now, but I think we're on the right path.
Right here on the left, second row, Eric.
You're probably not going to have a lot of details from practice because there's only been four, but the three true freshman corners being such standout prospects. So what can you say kind of about those three guys and the importance of having them here for spring?
Yeah, I think it's really important. They all fit the profile, height, weight, speed. They look the part for sure when you come out there and watch us practice. They don't look like true freshmen. They've all got size. They've got tremendous length, arm length. They're as talented as they come. They obviously, right now is new for them. Adjusting to college. It's still football, but the speed of the game changes. The terminology changes. The tempo of practice. All these guys are probably used to being the best player on their team, and then they're around a bunch of good players. So that's an adjustment for them. But they've caught on really really fast. Brandon just got here this week, but he's worked extremely hard at home. You can tell.
Back left, Matt.
When you watched film on Dylan and you were preparing to go after him and whatnot, has anything changed or have you seen something that doesn't show on film being around him now, whether it's on the field or off the field? What's been impressive there?
Yeah, I tell you what. When you watch the film, you obviously see a guy that's made a bunch of tackles. He's been really productive. Had over 100 tackles 2 years in a row. Has 6 interceptions. I think his true freshman year. So you knew he had some ball production, some ball judge ability, and he was a really good tackler. But what you didn't know is the person. We didn't recruit him out of high school. Once you get to know him, the person is much better than the player. His attention to detail, his work ethic is like none other anyone I've ever coached. Uh, the guy's relentless in his pursuit for greatness. He's trying to get better each and every day. I mean, growth, we say growth. I mean, he's all about growth. Every rep, every day, every meeting, like he's a pro. And so that's what you didn't know is like, that's like, whoa, the intangibles about this guy's was really tremendous.
On the right here, Chris.
Yeah, sticking with Dylan, when you have a guy like that in a room that's so young and inexperienced, how does that help pull everybody else along?
I think is really beneficial, and that was one of the challenges for Dylan. He's not a real vocal guy. If you just get to know him, he's kind of reserved a little bit, and so we brought him here. Once I got to know him a little bit, I said, "Okay, my challenge for you is for you to grow as a leader." And first he was like, "Hey, coach, I got to prove myself to the guys," and they all noticed his work ethic. I mean, he was doing extra all the time. I mean, he is a workout junkie, a film junkie. I mean, he is a ball guy through and through, and a great student. Uh, and the guys saw that, and then they started to feed off of him. And he started to lead, and he's been more vocal as of late.
Front left, James.
What's your outlook at Nichols specifically, Chris, and how you'll handle reps throughout the offseason with Dalen facing some uncertainty, and who all else is there besides him and Jaden in terms of
Yeah,
solo and name there as well?
Yeah, yes, we've got quite a few guys that are working there. We always talk about position versatility. With this group that we've got this year, I think it's more important than ever of guys knowing how to play multiple spots. Like Jaden's a guy that's played star, he's played safety, he played corner all last season, depending on the game for Ole Miss. Obviously, Dalen has done it, Solo has done it. Jaleel Florence is back moving around for us. He can do it for us. Tamon Davis. We've had a bunch of guys. Zach Grisham is doing it. And then we're going to get, some of our safeties learning as well. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just rotating guys. In the spring, fall camp, we do a green, yellow. There's no depth chart. It's just all about PG, personal growth, and guys learning how to play multiple positions. And we want them to understand the scheme. So I may move them and I may challenge them. One day you're a corner, tomorrow you're a star. Okay, this rep you're a star. Hey, in 4 plays, you're going to safety. And I expect you to know it because it may happen like that in the game. Ultimately, we want to be able to play the best 5 guys at any time on the field. So them knowing multiple positions will only enhance their ability to do that. We don't play a field safety, the boundary safety during spring or fall camp. We just play a left and right. We play a left and right corner. So right now there's really just positionless, and then we'll go from there and figure out who the best guy is to play the spot.
Back right, Aaron.
Had a lot of new players last year in the defensive back room. Again, this year, a lot of new, especially young players. Just what
Yeah.
have you kind of learned from last season that you're taking into this season? A little bit more familiar also too with the scheme.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. I mean, I think last year, we played pretty good football with a lot of new guys, and they were new to Oregon as well. This year, we're just young and experienced of ever playing football at this level, in college. So going from last year, this year, it's a totally different team. But the thing that I can take as a coach is how can I grow? How can I teach better? That's kind of what I'm challenging myself. How can I make the complex simple? Okay, this scheme is kind of complicated. How can I look at it and put myself in his shoes and say, hey, this is exactly what it is? Right? If you do this and this, then that's what it is. And so just as coaches, we're always challenging ourselves as how can we get better, become better teachers to the guys and make the complex simple to them so they can play fast.
Back middle, Brett.
Coach Lanning talked yesterday about kind of how hungry this group seems to be to learn. Who's caught your eye that's really shown that hunger to learn, especially out of the young group, and maybe even some of the veterans that have shown a deeper, increased hunger to want to get better all across the field?
Honestly, it's hard for me to single out one guy or, they all are, being honest with you. And I think when you walk into a room like ours that's talented, you really have no choice but to be hungry or you're going to get left behind. All right. So you walk in and you look through the room and every guy in here was kind of recruited pretty high. They all can play, and I tell guys that I'm recruiting, I'm not going to tell you any of the guys that on our team can't play. They can play. But it's going to be the same if you get to the NFL. Those guys can play too. So I think that there's a lot of competition amongst each other. They push each other and they want to be great. So I just think it's kind of the standard that Coach Lanning has said here. The way we take notes is different than any place I've ever been. Right now, I've been involved with college football since 2004 when I played at South Carolina. I never took notes. All right, and that's probably why I was an average player. But these guys now take like elite notes. And so I've learned that from being here. It's the way you take notes. They take notes like the coaches do. And it just everyone falls in place. It's part of the culture.
Right here in front right, Zach.
Been a lot of positive buzz around Iffy and kind of how he's grown from last
Yeah.
year to this year. Bryce earlier this week said that he's a freak in
Mhm.
practice. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, if he's a really competitive player, man. Competitive, tough, loves the game, doesn't say a whole bunch. Just kind of laid back demeanor and does his job consistently. And that's the thing that you love about him, man. I mean, he's got long arms, tremendous wingspan, get his hands on guys. He's physical. He has the right mentality and mindset too. I mean, he's made of the right stuff, and I think that he's gonna have a really bright future here at Oregon.
Right left, second row, Eric.
What have your early impressions been of the younger safeties? Obviously, a lot of these guys were here last year.
Yeah.
Some of them are new. What have you seen from them?
That's a good. I love them. I really do. I think we got a really, really good group. They're young. They haven't played. Me and Connor Boyd was talking about. I said, we think we're pretty good at safety. Now it's got to keep going, but they're growing the right way. Last year they were true freshmen. You've got Trey McNutt right now, who's probably ahead of where those guys were last year at this time. Last year, he's not ahead of them right now, not yet, but he's going on the right pace. So I think we got a good group. They've got to continue to get better, got to continue to grow. But after 4 practices, and I think they're hungry to play. They are. They didn't play a whole bunch last year, and now it's their time.
Back left, Matt.
Kind of along those same lines of Peyton's a guy, I think one of the only freshmen to actually play, and he's now a sophomore. Just kind of where's he at from when he arrived here last year to kind of now that growth over the whole year?
Yeah, night and day. He was a guy that wasn't here last spring, so he didn't have the spring with us. He got here in late June, so he was a little bit behind as far as how much football he had missed with us. But no, it's a night and day difference from where he was last year. So I think he's got a bright future with us.
Right here on the right middle, Chris.
You brought up earlier that Jalil is back Is he back 100%, and how's he looking so far this spring? What sort of expectations do you have for him this
Yeah, I
season?
mean, he's rolling right now. I think you'd have to ask him, what's what, he's trying to get better. So is he exactly where you want him to be at? No, but nobody is right now. But he's practicing. He's not limited in reps. He's taking every rep. He's getting better and better each and every day. Like he looks better this week than he did before spring break. Like it's a tremendous difference. So I think with confidence and reps, he's gonna get be back to the player that he once was.
We got two more, James, then Aaron.
When you guys made the improvement that you did from the year before, Chris, as a secondary as a whole, as a defense as a whole, but the whole starting secondary, I'd say, would be undersized,
Yeah.
particularly a corner. Everybody was 5'9".
Yep.
What do you think y'all are going to be capable of with a group that's all 6 to 6'3", 6'4" across the board, particularly when the goal and objective is postseason play against the likes of Ohio State or offenses that have the kinds of receivers like Jeremiah and Ekbuka, et cetera. If you're going to be going up against 3 NFL receivers, what do you think you're capable of with corners that are more prototypical?
Yeah, I think that's why you recruit. And I think we've done a tremendous job here recruiting our recruiting staff. Marshall, Tyler Dean, Brian Bachman, all those guys have done a tremendous job of identifying guys that fit the profile that'll help us get to where we want to go. And I think now we've got a group of guys that we've recruited that look the way, that fit the height, weight, speed profile that you would want. And I think the guys that we had last year were tremendous players. Love them all. And so, I just hopefully, these guys are young. They don't have as much experience as the guys did last year, but they're bigger. But talent doesn't always win, and that's the big piece that we're preaching to the guys now. It's not about the talent that you have. I was reading a book from John Calipari. He talked about, he had all these 5-star players. Maybe 10 of them got drafted, and they didn't win a national championship. They were the most talented team. All right, but talent doesn't always win. It's about applying the talent and going in the right direction. So that's kind of what we're trying to get done now is learning the fundamentals, playing with elite technique, understanding my assignment, my alignment, my keys, and going from there. But I think the sky's the limit. I really do. How soon can we get there? That's the challenge.
Last question, Aaron, back right.
You talked about just the competition within the room, but I know you guys are only 4 practices in. You got your first scrimmage ahead of you. Have you been able to do any defense, offensive competition at all? And if you have, kind of what have you seen about the progress of the offense going up against them in practice?
Yeah, today was our 4th practice. So, and every day we go against offense. And today going against our offense, I think today was our best practice as a team. And that's what you want to see, that you get better each and every day. Day 4 should be better than day 3 and better than day 2, etc. So I think today was our best day. But we haven't watched the film yet. Obviously, there'll be a lot of mistakes on there, but I thought the effort was there, the energy. That's kind of what you want to see is if we're doing that, we're playing hard, and we're going to make mistakes, right? And the mistakes are there. That's up to me to fix as the coach, with the secondary. So, but I think that the effort is there, the energy is there, going forward. Now, offense, to answer your question, Aaron, always is a challenge going against our offense. And those guys do a tremendous job, gives us all types of shifts and motions, formations, and things like that. We've got really good players on offense. A lot of non-Oregon experience over there as well. But I think the guys will compete.